All right. Here we go. Here we go. What is going on? Finish the setup, and then we'll get started here. All right. There's the newest updates. All right. We'll get started here in a second. Hey. All right. Maybe I should stream like this today. Maybe I should stream like this today. What do we think? Like this. Should I stream like this today? You can see everything a little bit bigger, right, baby? I guess it's kind of... I think this is larger. I think this is better. I think this is better for you guys. Yeah. Screw it. We'll do some stuff. We'll do some stuff like this. All right, let's let some people get into stream, and then we'll get started here. And then we'll get started here. Ooh, let me copy a couple things over here real quick. I'm going to switch back. Copy a couple things over here. We're going to need this. We're going to need this. Okay. Definitely going to need those. Go back here. That's back here. Let's go here. We're definitely going to need... Not alert. Those are. Yeah, we're gonna need that. Okay. All right. Why does my back camera look so ugly? Oh my god, why is it so dark? Maybe I'll open my window. Ay, ay, ay. Yo, yo, yo. Yo, 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 yo. Happy Sunday. Oh my gosh, it is so pretty outside my window, guys. I'm in Minnesota, and the house, there's a house across the street, and like all the colors are, all the trees around it are orange and red. And very pretty. Look what the GFS gave us. This is the 06Z. What's the 00Z? Look at that. Snow into the Ohio Valley. Look at that. The Euro's giving us some interesting looks too. Check this out. Holy Plains freaking winter snow on the Euro. Euro AI likes the northeast. So So lots of interesting little things happening here. I mean, hey, the GFS wants to put snow into Philly. But you know, I don't know. I'm not gonna hang my hat on that. But wants to put snow into Philly in the next 8 days. Do I think that's gonna happen? Probably not. But it could. It could. It could. We'll take a look at what I think the odds of that are. We'll get into percentages. This is yeah, I mean the 00Z GFS, this is 8 days out. It thinks a storm's going to come in. We'll talk about all this, what I think the odds of it are. It thinks the storm's going to come down here and drop some snow through Des Moines, Illinois, Indianapolis, Columbus, Philly, Boston. You look at the 06Z. 06Z is seeing heavy snow into potentially Chicago, Milwaukee. Stuff like that. Portion of Indiana, Ohio, and West Virginia, and PA, and New England. And then you got the Euro. The Euro, it's all getting very aggressive. We know we're going to see winter storm. We just don't know how amplified it's going to be and where the snow is going to be. The Euro's dumping 2 feet of snow into Nebraska and northwestern Kansas. I mean, all sorts of crazy looks here. All sorts of crazy looks here. We're going to get into it. Let a few more people get in here, and then we'll talk about it. We'll talk about all the crazy. We'll talk about all the craziness. Turn that music down a little bit. As long as it misses Buffalo, New York, I'm good. We'll see. Buffalo is snow magnet, so I don't know how good your odds are of that. Snow time, baby. I know some people hate snow. Some people love snow. Gemini, what's going on? Do I have any mods in here? I don't think I have any mods in here yet. I don't think I have any mods in here yet. Hold up. Hold everything. Hold everything. Let me just get them on in here. We'll get started. Let me tell my mods. I'm live. All right. I'm almost ready. I'm almost ready. Don't worry. We're going to start the forecasting. We're going to talk about what's ahead. I'm just telling my mods that I'm live. Okay. Okay. Here we are. How did we get here? How did we get here with no model showing any snow through the beginning of November before? You know how we got here? Science. No, I don't know. But this is exactly what was going on in my head. We should have seen this earlier on. Let's just get right into it. Let's dive in. Here we go. Oh, you know what I really need to do, actually? Before... Okay, don't worry. We're getting started. I just want to do one thing. And I have to figure out where it is. Source. Dark block. Widget. Frame. Yeah, okay, that's what I want. I gotta put my logo up here, right? Come on. If I'm using my other one. There it is. You guys see that? Put one down here. Put one up. Oh, should I just do here? That'll have to do. All right. We got to keep this professional. I don't know. It's a little too busy. What do you guys thinking? Top right corner. I know you guys are like, shut up and just talk about the weather. Don't worry. I'm getting there. All right. We'll just do top right corner. All right. There you go. Let's get rid of this one. 1 second. Remove. No, what? Don't. Just pull it off the screen for now. Oh, I'll just go like that. There we go. All right. Sorry, I had to fix that. We're just doing a little bit of a different setup today. You know what I mean? Chaser. Okay. You need snow in Eastern PA? Well, you might get it. All right, listen. Here we go. This is the 06C. We're going to go through all the runs. Some moisture running up the coast over the next couple days. You got some cold air sinking into the upper Midwest and into New England. A little bit of cold rain, snow up into the mountains. Lots of moisture flow and wind, cold, low elevation rain and high elevation snow throughout the week. Out west, we're going to have a warm-up, probably like Monday to Friday throughout much of the center of the country. Here's where things get interesting, guys. Next weekend. Holy smokes, things get interesting next weekend. And we're talking about 160 hours, within 160 hours now. GFS sees some snow diving through the Dakotas, into Iowa, maybe northern Missouri, through Indiana, Ohio. And then, wow, look at that storm. Look at that storm along the coast, that snowstorm. Now, I would say, it's one run. Well, guess what? Chat. I'll tell you what when I can get my ish together. The Euro sees the exact same thing at the exact same time. Now, not as aggressive with the snow, but amplified trough diving down, cold air on the back end, some snow flurries on the back end. Probably severe weather, honestly. This is probably severe weather out east next Saturday or Sunday. And then the Euro sees a 969 mega low. This is pretty much a land snow hurricane if this were to happen, dumping 2 to 3 feet of snow across the plains. And this would be a major severe weather outbreak as well. That's more near the end of the run, though, so we're not really going to entertain it that much yet. Although the GFS sees it too. Look, the GFS sees it too. This would be a blizzard. This wouldn't be a snowstorm. This would be a blizzard for Chicago if it played out like this. End of the run. The Euro and GFS both see it. So I think we'll see something like that. It probably won't be, well, it could be this aggressive, but we'll see. But yeah, 976 millibar. This would be 40, 50 mile per hour gust in Chicago with feet of snow. End of the run. So anyways, this is the one I'm more focused on right now because this one's more realistic, right? Next weekend, 160 out within 160 hours, we're going to get a snowstorm. Where is the snow going to fall? Exactly up here. We're going to get big snow here. We're going to get big snow here. We're going to get big snow, whatever. I don't know where exactly it's going to fall. I know we're going to have a trough digging down. I know we're going to get temperatures 15, 20, 25 degrees below average out here in the east. I know we're going to get snow on the ground. The details, the local down to, the really small details, it's too hard to tell this far out, but the grand scheme of this trough diving down into the states, it's going to happen. What is a potential one for Chicago? The one that the Euro and GFSC, they see a second snowstorm around November 15th, 16th, 17th. So we're talking like 14 days. What's going on, Dalton? I didn't even get to finish the video. I'm pulling for snow in Indiana. Hey, yeah, I mean, look at this. GFS does put snow in, a little bit of snow into Indiana next Monday. But anyways, or not next Monday, two Mondays. Not this Monday, the next Monday. So let's go back to the 00Z and see what we see here. I wonder if I do... No, we're just going to go back and split this. So here's the 00Z from last night. Still showing this snow moving through the plains. Actually, snow in Chicago, Indianapolis, Columbus, Ohio, Philadelphia, Boston. We're talking 8 days out. This is what the 00Z is showing. And then we see, an ice storm through, which no one wants, through Iowa, snow in Minneapolis, Milwaukee, and stuff like that. And again, this whole time we're getting tons of rainfall and snow funneling into the west. Lots of high elevation snow in the Rockies and cold rain out west. California, Washington, and Oregon. It's going to be a pretty wet one for you over the next couple weeks. Just a nonstop funnel of moisture. And the OOZ last night, too, does, again, see that potentially a big storm as well at the end of this run. So very interesting. Very interesting. Going back to the 00Z of the Euro, there's some people like, never look at the GFS. It's wrong. Well, guess who may end up being right this time, at least from a farther out perspective? I told you guys 3 days ago when I was looking at the GFS and the Euro, the GFS was being aggressive. The Euro was putting zero snow in the States. And I said, we've had warm anomalies up in the Arctic for 2-3 weeks now. You're telling me that polar jet isn't going to collapse because of that? Because that doesn't make any sense. Everything I've learned about height anomalies and warm anomalies in the Arctic for an extended period of time in fall and winter, there's always a collapse of air, of cold air, south. So the Euro was sitting there like, yeah, our Arctic's going to be baking and there's going to be no cold air that drops down into the States. And I was saying, excuse my French, but that's bullshit. And it was. Okay, so the Euro now agrees. We're dropping cold air down into the States. This was the 0-0. This is the 0-0 of the Euro. We get into Saturday. We get into Sunday. And there you go. This is probably severe weather. If we play out like this, tons of cold air. You guys want to see how cold this air is? And the Euro brings multiple snowstorms in. This would be probably a record-breaking November snowstorm if we were to see a 969 millibar megalo moving up there. Snowland, snow hurricane. But again, end of the run. I want to show you guys, and I'll take some questions. Right before I take questions, I want to show you guys what these temperature anomalies could be, because I don't think people realize how cold this could actually get. Look at that. Okay, so we're seeing purples. We're seeing 20 degrees, potentially plus, below average, into the Ohio Valley. 20 degrees, colder than it should be. And what happens behind that with this? Holy smokes. Pushing in from the west, it's going to be very cold as well. 20, 25 degrees below average. Let's take a look at the ZFS temperature anomalies. Look at that. We're seeing pinks show up in here. We're seeing 30 degrees below average if we get this trough, this amplified down there. Same with up there in New England, 30 degrees below average. And then you get this secondary trough. It's cold again. When I told you guys, let's go here and let's look at our, let's look at our 8 to 14 day temperature outlook. This is, again, BS. We're not going to be this hot here. We're going to be hot. Okay, I'm not going to call it BS. I like the Climate Prediction Center, and I don't want to talk crap about them. But we're going to be hot here, but we're not going to be this hot. Okay? We're not going to be that hot. It is, to be fair, 8 to 14 day temperature outlook. And over the next 6 to 7, okay, I'm not going to say that. Over the next 6 to 8 days, we'll say 6 to 8. God, that time frame isn't 6 to 8, though. Over the next 6 to 8 days, we are going to be pretty warm, though. So that 8 to 14 day temperature outlook is really taking this heat that we're going to see during the week this week, and that's where it's getting that temperature outlook from. Don't be fooled by the much warmer than normal temperatures this week if you're in the plains and out east. Or out east will stay pretty cool, but don't be fooled by this week, guys. Don't be fooled by it. It's going to be Wednesday and Thursday, and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, why is it 70 degrees in November in Kansas or Nebraska? Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled, because this is what's ahead. All right? Guys, if the screen went away, that's TikTok's issue. They're having server issues. I'm also streaming on YouTube, and there's no issues with my stream on YouTube. TikTok needs to fix their crap. If the screen does go black, a lot of times you can just refresh it, or you can exit out and come back in, and it fixes itself. Once again, that's how we also know it's a TikTok issue. Yeah. Yeah, come over to YouTube if you want. There's no issues on YouTube. So yeah, tons of crazy stuff happening. I mean, this is the most active this is the most active storm pattern we would have seen. This is the most active storm pattern we've seen in the last 4 or 5 months. If we see this happen, and we're going to see at least this first snowstorm next week. Next weekend we'll see a snowstorm in the States. Not snow showers, not a snowstorm for the higher elevations. We'll see a snowstorm for lower elevations. Where it ends up landing, it's anyone's guess, but it's a coming. It's on its way. Let's see here. Okay, Gemini, Don, Holly, I appreciate you guys. I'm going to start answering questions. Mid-November, guys, getting into mid-November, then through December, it looks very cold for the plains and out east. I think it looks colder than it actually shows. I will say the first week of November does look warm for the plains and partially for the east. But you're seeing the transition. You're seeing the transition right here as we into November 8th and 9th. There it is. So that's going to change pretty quickly. Eastern PA, do you think we will get a lot of snow? I'll tell you right now, I think there's a 2 or 3% chance you get a few inches in Philly in the next 10 days. I'm not giving it a high percent chance, but there are model runs that suggest that is a possibility, which is kind of exciting for early November. When's the last time you got snow on the ground in low elevation Eastern PA the second week of November, right? You guys usually don't see snow until mid to late December, sometimes January. How many inches for Ohio? If we do get the model run that suggests snow in Ohio, it's probably not going to be a lot. It'll probably be 1 or 2 inches. But early November, you know, that's fun. The kids will like it. Central Illinois, can we please have snow? Well, again, the GFS is being very generous to you guys for snow. If this were to play out, this is the end of the model run, but we're seeing hints at it. If this were to play out, you'd have plenty of snow in central Illinois. The Euro keeps that snow farther to the west. If you take a look at the Euro, you got to compare models. You got to look at trends. The Euro model keeps that snow farther to the west. You see right here, digs that trough in farther west, so then it pushes up. It tilts farther to the west as well. But if that trough digs in here, it's going to tilt up farther to the east, and then again, that's snow for Illinois. So lots of, if you like snow and you like winter, it's at least, even if you don't get snow over the next 2 weeks, for me, it's fun to like look at the chances. Like, you know what I mean? It's exciting to see how is this going to actually play out. We don't know. I know that this we're going to have a winter storm next weekend. Well, how do I, 98% sure. The GFS, you have our Euro AI model, our European model, our Canadian, our GFS, our UK, all of our globals showing a snowstorm, all of them. The odds at 6, 7. Why is it always 6, 7, guys? Why is it always 6, 7? But it really is. Euro AI, GFS, Canadian, UK, Icon. That's 6 globals. It's always that number. But when all of your globals, like, I'm not just saying it on purpose. It's always okay. When all of those globals show the same, scenario within under 200 hours out happening, it almost always does. Now, they never agree on exactly how it's going to happen, how big the snowstorm will be, or how severe the severe weather will be, or exactly where it will enter. But you're going to see that pattern come to fruition in some way or another. So I'm confident in the snowstorm next week. What happens with it, we'll see. And then out there, we're seeing some crazy stuff. If I were to show you the Canadian as well, I haven't looked at the updated Canadian, actually. I have not. There you go. Snow for the upper Midwest, UP of Michigan, inner New England. Wow. The Canadian is really holding this thing to the north. I mean, there's your trough on the Canadian. There's your storm. You see, this is the same storm we're talking about, but the Canadian's being really soft with this. It does put snow into Minnesota, Wisconsin, a little bit into Michigan, upstate New York, inner New England. The Canadian's being really, really tame with this. Let's take a look at the UK. Can we get into There it is. There's our trough diving down next weekend on the UK. This is going to be snow. Okay, let's take a look at. Did we take a look at the icon yet? Let's take a look at 10-1 snow on the icon. If we can, I don't think we can get out far enough. Okay, we can't get out far enough yet on the icon. Not yet. All right, ask questions. Hey, Morgan, what's going on? Oh, the date I put was January 3rd. Oh, did I put 1? I meant to put 11. 1. Oh, crap. Oh, crap. Maybe I should fix that. Yeah, let me fix that real quick. Thanks for pointing that out. People are going to start watching the video and look at the date and be like, oh, this is irrelevant. I should definitely fix that. All right, that'll take me 2 seconds. Edit, post. Okay, that one's good. Oh, I must have just messed up 1. Oh, I see. I said January. Oh, my. Thanks for pointing that out. I'm going to be like, my video has no views. And I'm going to be like, oh, because I said that this is for January 25. That was a good catch. Yeah. I only have to put the date on TikTok. YouTube has the date it's uploaded, I think. And then so does Instagram. I say it on purpose. I'm starting to think subconsciously I do. How many models show snow for the Ohio Valley? There's like probably 2 of the 6 globals, but they're deterministic runs. If we were, you guys want to look at the winter panels? You guys want to look at all the possible outcomes? There's one member that puts snow into Nashville next weekend. There's some funny scenarios looking at the panels. You guys want to look at the 50 members? Remember, when the Euro and GFS get this data in and they put it into the algorithm pumps out 50 different possibilities. The 50 possibilities I think are the most likely to happen. So, and typically one of those members wins or gets very close. So it's fun to look at that because you'll see some of the scenarios that could technically take place. Yeah, guys, Wes, you're going to remain pretty warm, but you're going to remain, I hate saying it like this, wet. Lots of moisture over the next 2 weeks. Lots of moisture out there. If we're taking a look at, let's go to long range, global, deterministic, real time, snowfall, month to date, SPC outlooks, convective outlook, severe, extended. Okay, well, you know what? We'll go over. I'll just show pivotal real quick, and I'll zoom out here so you guys can see a little better. If we're looking here, I know this looks so sloppy. If we're looking here, forecast, rainfall, 168 hours. Look at this moisture up in the Pacific Northwest. Holy smoke! Or just in the Northwest in general. Holy smokes! A ton. Anyways. There is a scenario where Chicago gets a lot of snow next weekend. It's one scenario. So, it really depends. This storm track. There is a scenario where that happens. And we'll get into that. I'm going to look at the panel. So, I'll show you kind of the possibilities with this, okay? Yes. Multiple models show snow for the Ohio Valley, potentially. You think we're going to have a cold and snowy winter in southern Indiana? Southern Indiana? Yeah. I think so. Yeah. You get above average precipitation in a weak La Nina. We have an enhanced WPO, negative NAO is not going to affect you from if we have a period of that. That's more the up and down the eastern seaboard. But yeah, above average precipitation, average to below average temperatures this winter, especially early on southern Indiana. New York City, like I said, I don't think New York City is going to see a lot of snowstorms this winter. I think you're going to see one or two big snowstorms. That's why I think you're going to finally hit that average to above average snow that you haven't hit in a while. And it's not going to be because of a bunch of snow. It's going to be because of one or two nor'easters type setups. Okay, so let's do this. Give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back. We're going to look at the panels. We're going to look at all the possible outcomes over the next week to 2 weeks, where we could see snow, what these storms could look like. And we'll kind of get an idea of where the severe weather is going to be as well. All right, so give me 1 second. I will be right back. And did I get my be right back thing on here? 1 second. I pulled it in. Boom. We'll put it over here now. Okay. Be right back, guys. 2 seconds. Yes, yes, I know that was more than 2 seconds. I'm sorry. But I'm back. We're gonna go over this. Alright. I already had a Red Bull and coffee. Do I do another Red Bull? No, my mods are gonna yell at me. By the way, you guys should be able to turn the stream sideways, I think, right? If you're on TikTok, you should be able to turn the stream sideways. Yeah, you can. Okay. All right, cool. Hello. Here we go. Problem solved. All right, let's take a look at the panels and I'll continue to answer questions. Tap, tap. Oh, thanks, Mezzo Matthew. I still have my other stream set up, but I kind of like this one. It makes things a little bit bigger. You know, what's even going on there? What's even going on there, guys? Here's our weather right now. All right. Let's go back here, though. Alrighty. Nope, that's not where we want to be. That's where we want to be. So, Matt, how do you feel about this 976 millibar low dumping 3 feet of snow into Chicago? How do you feel about that? How do you feel about this right here, right over here? Or you know what, Matthew? You know what, Matthew? How do you feel about this 969 millibar land snow hurricane? Are the models on crack, or are they onto something? Keep it away from me. Yeah. No one wants to be in this right here. You see this? This ice? No one wants to be there. I will say, though, this, I don't even need to look at the severe reflectivity. That's a bad time for my folks over there in Kentucky. That's a bad time. I think it's legit. I think it's kind of somewhat legit as well. It's, yeah, too legit to quit. I agree. The panels are crazy. Let's take a look at the panels, because why not? Let's go to European Ensemble and let's take a look at all the possible outcomes for people, because everyone's asking about snow in their state. I'll show you if there's a possibility, but according to the panels. What do we notice in some of these? And these are probably small. Again, you can turn your phone sideways or join me on YouTube. But these are probably small. Oops, this is 06C for you guys, but I'll highlight what I see in these. I gotta get real close now. I gotta get close to the screen, so I'm gonna be right here with you guys. Okay, Midwestern New England snow, member 1. Let's go into member 2. Nothing too exciting. Member 3, New England snow. I'll circle the members that are interesting. This is an extremely interesting member. All right, snow into Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, and Ohio on member 5 here. Okay, it's a possibility. Big snow potentially into Michigan. This would be Detroit, Ohio, PA. Interesting run there. Lots of snow up in the upper Midwest, Northern Plains on our run down here. Big snow through Chicago on our member here. This is all New England snow. Big snow through Michigan on our member down here. These are all possible outcomes. Lots of Midwestern snow here. You get snow down into potentially the Ohio Valley here, Midwest here. So let's look at 26 to 50. Any more crazy runs? This is snow into Boston out there, New England. Ohio Valley snow. Big, actually decent Ohio Valley snow for November. This wants to give everyone snow. If you guys want snow in the Ohio Valley, root for member number 37. You know, can you gamble on weather? Have any of the gambling apps added weather yet? Like gambling on which member is going to be correct? They should really add that. I love gambling. What? Oh, I forgot I was streaming. Just kidding, guys. Just kidding, TikTok. Don't take my video down because I said that. We need that immediately. I would slam member 37, okay? Put the mortgage on it. Member 37. Snow for everyone in the Ohio Valley. Just kidding. Half kidding. Snow for New York City down on this member here. Snow for New York City and Philly on this member here. So, hey, there's some the members are seeing all sorts of exciting stuff. How are we feeling about St. Louis? We're always straddling the line. You're going to continue to straddle the line. I'll tell you that, at least in early winter. You guys are expected to be below average this winter temperatures and probably average to above average precipitation. So winter-wise, I think it might be okay for you. I think you might have an okay winter if you are looking forward to some decent snow. Panels winter in the GFS. Let's see if the GFS does some crazy things. Okay, let's look at what if the GFS has any wildness going on here. No, that's the Euro. Let's get into the GFS. Let's see what type of craziness the GFS has going on. Let's do all members. Okay, we got 30. Snow total, all members, GFS ensemble. Okay, let's see. Huge snow for Nebraska and Kansas. Right off the bat, GFS is like, hey, I'm going to be way more aggressive than the Euro. How about that? This is a possibility here on the GFS, which would be tons of snow for the Dakotas, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Chicago, Northern Illinois, Iowa, potentially the Mid-Atlantic and New England. This is a crazy member right here. That'd be crazy if that happened. Snow for Kentucky down here. Heavy snow for the upper Midwest and even down towards Northern Illinois and Iowa on that one. Lots of snow here for potentially the Midwest and Ohio Valley. There's some very interesting. Okay, the GFS is maybe smoking crack. We've got like a foot of snow into Philly in New York City on that member there, which the GFS sees as a possibility. I don't know. This might be the craziest one yet. A foot of snow into Missouri and Kansas City in the next 2 weeks. Maybe that one wins. And then any other crazy ones down here? Lots of snow down into the southwest on some of these models too. Arizona and New Mexico. This is wild as well. This is what the Euro sees though, like 3 feet of snow into Nebraska and South Dakota. So anyways, yeah, craziness, guys. Oh, that's the 06Z. I haven't even looked at the 00Z. This will be the last thing I do, and I'll get back to questions. I just find it interesting to see what it sees. Big Missouri snow on that member. You've got Ohio snow on this member. You've got heavy Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan snow on that member as a possibility. We've got a kind of a nor'easter on this one and this one. Any more? Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. The 00Z likes the thought of a nor'easter for sure. You know what I find interesting? You know what I've gotten from looking at all these stupid things? One weird anomaly or one weird pattern keeps showing up. You want to know which one that is? I'm gonna tell you right now. This is what from looking at all this crap, this is what stands out the most to me. This. I'm seeing this. Something like this for the planes. In the GFS and Euro. On multiple members. Like heavy snow through the central to northern plains. This to me is... I mean, we're seeing lots of snow out here in New England on all of them in the Rockies. But specifically, this is a weird one that I keep seeing right here. So that's interesting. Okay. All right. Let me get back to chat. I really quickly do just want to look at what's going on in our stratosphere with our warming. Still pretty warm up there, but look, it's going to try to heal itself. Some cool anomalies are going to try to sink in. Oh, wow. Look at this. Look at this out towards mid-November. Look at what's happening up over Alaska, northwestern Canada. That's going to mean cold at the end of November down the States as well. Interesting. Okay. What's going on, chat? Talk to me. Toledo, Ohio. Well, we saw some members with snow through Ohio. How's the Mid-Atlantic looking? I think you're going to get early snow this year. MJO face 7-1. NDJ, November, December, January. This is nice and cool. Below average for the Mid-Atlantic, and will probably give you a decent storm track, enhanced moisture because of that low pressure. Mezzo, I appreciate you. Morgan, Kitty, Don. I think I missed some people. Is southern Minnesota going to get snow? Yeah, I think we're going to have good snow. I think when it's all said and done, we're going to have at least 2 snowstorms that come through central southern Minnesota before November's over. Next weekend. My newest video also has the wrong date. Where? 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 On TikTok? What about Michigan? Yeah, Michigan's gonna have a good November and early December, I think. The newest one with all the predictions on TikTok has the wrong date. I thought I fixed that. I didn't fix that? 11/3/25. 11/3/25. Oh, and then I have an 11/2. What is going on with me lately, guys? What is going on with me? I just can't get my dates right. I have an 11/2. Is today 11/3? Oh, today is 11/2. Oh, crap. So what you guys are... Oh, my God. And I made my other ones 11/3, and I can't edit my... I don't think I can edit that again. I can't. No further edits can be made. No. No. What have I done, chat? I'll just make a comment. 11/2/25. Oh my gosh, what have I done? I just can't do anything right. Baltimore, DC, 11/15/16. Listen, it's a very interesting time frame. Right now, it looks like a lot of warm, kind of warm shield out in front of a big trough diving down. Right now, it's looking like you could have severe weather and heat out there. But you know, this is 14 days out. We're gonna see things change. If I were to tell you what I think is gonna happen right now, I'd say severe weather and heat on the 15th and 16th of November. You know, there's the GFS. Taking a look at the euro. Go to 00Z. Same type of thing. See that? A 15th, 16th out there. But it's too early to tell. Too early to tell. Because if that trough speeds up a little bit, it could actually be very cold on the 15th or 16th. What I will say is the pattern looks like it wants to be active mid-November out in DC around that 14, 15, 16, 17 time frame. So let's watch how this storm develops because it could get messy in the mid-Atlantic around then. Nancy Brown, I appreciate you. Gavin, what's poppin'? Next GFS run is at 12:30 now. Oh no! Wait, did our runs get earlier or later? Oh, our runs. Oh no, the runs are later, aren't they, guys? You tell me I have to wait an extra hour for my runs? Wait, no. Earlier. Just joined. What does the Twin Cities, Minnesota look like for snow? You know, that's where I am. I'm right around the Twin Cities. And the pattern is very good for the upper Midwest. Let's just say that. Our jet stream this week wants to continue to slide like this. We're going to warm up like Monday to Thursday in the Twin Cities. We're going to have a little bit of a heat. As we get into next weekend, specifically Saturday and Sunday, things get really interesting. Here's the O6C trying to bring snow into Minnesota there and there. Here's the OOZ of the GFS trying to bring snow into Minnesota next weekend right there. And then right there again. Here's the Euro trying to bring some snow into Minnesota, or into, we'll call it Minneapolis region, right there, and then right there again, and then right there again. So, yeah, Minneapolis, you're going to have a few chances here. We're going to have a few chances here over the next couple weeks. There's a pattern that wants to put snow at least around us, if not in the city. Snow in Philly, look, it's a possibility. The GFS throws a ton of snow out towards the Mid-Atlantic and Euro here next weekend. Late next weekend. You know, we need a little bit more time. I'd like to be a little bit closer, 2 to 3 more days to see the model consensus, because the Euro doesn't put as much snow out towards the Mid-Atlantic. But I think the Mid-Atlantic is going to get snow on the ground earlier, specifically out towards New York City, through Philly, down to DC, Baltimore. I think you're going to get snow on the ground earlier in the season than you have in the last few years, last 5-6 years maybe. It's just, a cold MJO cycle with a weak La Nina. The front half of winter looks cold. I've been saying this in my videos. Second half of winter looks warmer. Front half looks really cold. When do you expect your first snow in Chicago? Man, it could be in the next 10 days, depending on which one of these models is correct. I mean, it could be within the first 3 weeks of November is going to give Chicago 2 or 3 chances. You're just going to have to hope that these troughs are amplified enough to bring the cold air there, because you're probably going to get some storms that it's either going to be very cold rain or it's going to be snow. When do I expect the first snowfall for northern Kentucky? Again, the GFS sees that in 8 days. Do I think that's going to happen? No, I think you'll get flurries of snow potentially in Kentucky if this were to happen. But listen, most people out east are going to have an earlier season chance for snow than they've had in a while, just because of the cold MJO cycle and weak La Nina. It's a front-loaded winter. Let's just say that. That's what it looks like right now. Yeah, I'm near the Twin Cities and a Giants fan. In the last 8 years, I've lived in Florida, California, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Minnesota. But I grew up in Florida. My dad was a big Giants fan, so I like the Giants. I like the Dolphins. But my wife's a diehard Vikings fan, and you know what they say, happy wife, happy life. So I do always hope that the Vikings win. End of November for Oregon traveling. That's going to be tough. End of November. I will say there's so much precipitation. There's so much moisture that's expected to fall out here over the next 2 to 3 weeks. It's probably not going to continue through the end of November. So I would think you'd probably get drier near the end of November out there. But that's really all I can say. That's too far out really to give you a good guesstimate. But we're probably going to see it dry down a little bit out in Oregon at the end of November. What am I predicting this winter for Utah? Slightly above average temperatures, maybe average snow, just slightly below. Listen, weak La Ninas typically aren't great for here, and specifically for out here. In November, though, we're getting some snow chances, early season snow chances in Utah. You can see out here towards the end of the run, this is big snow for Utah and Colorado. Look at all that snow. This is feet of snow, 3, 4, 5 feet of snow. So, you might want to take this snow while you can get it. Again, though, listen, we've seen weak La Ninas where Utah gets record snow. It's not a perfect science. It's not a perfect science. I would say 7 out of 10 times, 70% of the time, weak La Nina, this type of pattern, Utah's a little bit drier than normal. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen, but if you want my real opinion, that's kind of the way I'd lean. What is a La Nina? A La Nina is when the waters along the equatorial Pacific, specifically the Nina 3 and Nina 4, what we call the Nina 3.4 region, are 0.5 degrees Celsius or below average. So if it's 0.5 degrees Celsius if it's negative 0.5 degrees Celsius to negative 1 degree Celsius, it's weak La Nina. And then once you get up to negative 1 to negative 1.5, you get into moderate, negative 1.5, all the way up to 2 and above, you get into strong La Nina. It just matters because when the waters along the equatorial Pacific are cooler than average, your subtropical jet stream weakens. It doesn't have convection to hold on to, and so your polar jet takes over. You get an enhanced polar jet, meaning you get typically a much colder, more below average winter for the northern tier states, whereas in an El Nino, if the waters are above average in the equatorial Pacific, specifically, the Nino 3.4 region really controls a lot of this, but there's a lot of different things you have to look at, WPO and everything. But if you're in El Nino and the waters are warmer along the equatorial Pacific, your subtropical jet actually is pretty activated in winter, and that brings more moisture and typically cooler conditions for the south. Next winter is probably going to be an El Nino. I don't know if it's going to be, but we've been in a neutral to La Nina for quite a while here, and you typically float between a La Nina and El Nino every 2 to 3 years. So if you look back in history, we're very unlikely to be in a La Nina next winter. We could be in an Enzo neutral, but I think we're going to be in an El Nino next winter, and a lot of people do. So next winter could be very promising for the south if you want some nice southern snow and cooler temperatures, below average temperatures. But a weak La Nina in general actually is very cold for everyone except for typically the far southeast. But we've had some weak La Ninas that are very cold for the far southeast as well. How cold is Texas going to look? I thought I was having, because I swear I have dyslexia, and I read how Texas cold going to look, and I thought that was me, but that's how you typed it. Dope feels, but it's okay. Texas, northern, you know, I think if we're talking about Dallas, Fort Worth, Panhandle of Texas, we're going to have a below average temperature winter. Houston, it's going to be tough. Again, Southeast and along the Gulf, it's tough. It's tough in a weak La Nina, but anything could happen. Possibility of Memphis snow. There is one run. There's a member of the GFS and a member of the Euro Ensemble that shows actually snow in Memphis next weekend. We'll see. It's not very, very likely to happen, but hey. So you're saying there's a chance. Hold up here. Hold up here. One second, guys. Sorry. Do I think Southern Kentucky has a chance for snow this November? It does. Do I think it has a chance? 100%. We can see it actually in some of these model runs, but I give it like a 5 to 10% chance. I give it like a 5 to 10% chance. This is This is kind of the aggressive one we have here. If you want to know what one of the more aggressive type of deterministic runs we have out right now, it's the latest GFS, the 06Z. Woo! Do a little stretching. Maybe I'll stretch right off camera. Will winter be above average in the Midwest? If you mean by more cold and snowy than normal, probably. It's a weak La Nina with an enhanced WPO. That's just your odds are it's going to be a colder and more snowy winter in the Midwest. At least more snowy. We'll see about cold. You could end up being about average temperature-wise. Doesn't mean it's going to be, but we're talking about percentages here. You know. What happened to the North Storm, Minnesota guys? Like I said, the model. Yeah, you know. Yeah, what happened to the North Storm, Minnesota? The models change. You know, there's our 06Z. There's our 00Z. That actually puts snow into Minneapolis. You know, what they continue to see, though, is these winter storms. With each run, where the snow falls is different, but the storm timing is the same. The storm timing is the same on every single run. You know, here we go. Next weekend, there's a storm. And then right after that, and then the weekend after that, there's another storm, right? Let's look at the Euro. Next weekend. Oops, let's go to the 00Z because this 06Z doesn't go out far enough. Next weekend, there's the storm. At least could be late weekend, could be early next week, Monday, but I think it's gonna be late next weekend. There's the storm. Go to the end of the run. Oh, look at the weekend after that, another storm. So the timing is the same. They all see it happening. How much cold air is there? How amplified is it? Where does the snowfall? That's the question. Not whether it's not whether we're gonna have a winter storm. It's who's it gonna affect. Where's the snow gonna fall? We're having a winter storm. Jasmine, Ethan, appreciate you guys. Yeah, that's just the word for it, Juliana. Active. This is active. When you get your polar jet collapsing, this is what we call active pattern, because cold air running into warm, moist air out from the Gulf and Atlantic, you get lots of storms. We're continuing to see this. This is anything but a calm pattern. More collapses of the polar jet. This is messy, but fun if you like interesting weather. Nashville, listen, there's a model run that puts snow on the ground in Nashville next weekend as well, but I think it's like a 1 or 2% chance of that happening. But Nashville typically sees above average precipitation in a weak La Nina. The question is going to be, are you cold enough with some of these storms? But listen, your favorite to have above average precipitation in winter. So I would say, if you like snow, you want above average precipitation in winter. You don't want below average. Definitely. St. Louis, Missouri. Is that how you pronounce it, guys? Missouri? I think it's Missouri. St. Louis is interesting. Typical. You look at what NOAA's predicting in a typical week La Nina. St. Louis would be colder than average in a typical week La Nina. So temperature-wise, colder than average. About average precipitation. You know, you're just kind of outside the Ohio Valley there. So interesting. Could be a little bit of a battleground area. You know, just like I think Omaha could be this winter. Really, this line here, if I were to draw like the winter battleground area, I would say if you're inside my stupid little drawing there, well, I actually wanted to include St. Louis. Let me do this. Let me just make this more broad, okay? Let's make this more broad. If you're in that circle, I'm worried about ice. Okay, you're gonna have some storms where it's freezing rain and ice, and somewhere it's a lot of snow. This is kind of the battleground zone because, you know, our jet stream's gonna want to set up somewhere in here like this. If you're to the north, you're gonna get snow. If you're to the south, you're gonna get rain, and if you're somewhere in the middle, you're gonna get ice. That's our battleground zone with the weak La Nina. Sometimes that can be a little bit farther south with an El Nino battleground zone because you have a little bit cooler temperatures to the south. And with the strong La Nina, I would typically draw the winter battleground zone farther to the north. We always get ice in that circle area. I know. Southern Minnesota looks okay. Who in this stream is from Minnesota? Where's my Minnesotans? Where's my Minnesotans? Don't you know? The best analog for this winter, and we talked about why. I really like the breakdown that what's his name did, Spot on Weather did. Just go follow Spot on Weather on YouTube. He's awesome. Really good analogs. 2000-2001 winter. How much snow did Minneapolis get in the 2000-2001 winter? When I say analog, the events in the atmosphere, the ENSO pattern we were in, everything looked very similar in 2000-2001 winter to how it looks now. So you can look at it and say we might have a similar winter. 2000-2001 winter, Minneapolis got 68 inches of snow, above average snow. By the way, if you guys want to know what your winter could look like for your city, go into AI, ChatGPT, Grok, or even Google AI. Just type it in on Google. How much snow did your city, just my city, so say Minneapolis, how much snow did Minneapolis get in the 2000-2001 winter? Or you can do in the 00-01 winter. And now, just because you got crazy above average snow in the 2000-2001 winter doesn't mean it's going to happen again. But I would say it's a good analog to look at because we had a very similar atmospheric profile. Wow, that was big words I just put together there. Proud of myself. Atmospheric profile. How's South Georgia looking this winter? Listen, we're going to get a couple polar vortex collapses. We always do in a week La Nina, and stratospheric warming has been significant recently. So if you're going to get any snow, there's going to be probably 2 or 3 chances here in southern Georgia. Typically, though, in a week La Nina, you're a little bit more mild than average, a little bit drier than average down in the southeast. But with an unstable stratospheric polar vortex, which we will have this winter, you know, we typically do have in La Nina, you always get a chance down in the south for some snow. Premier Snow and Ice, I appreciate you. Missy Ann, I appreciate you. When do I think Chicago will get its first snow? Yeah, before December 1st. Before December 1st. Probably 3rd week in November. All right, guys. I'm going to hop off. I've already posted my video, and I'm going to post another video later in the afternoon. That's not what I meant to switch to. Again, if you're new in here, I post updates every morning. I try to get them out before 7 or 8. See, I said 7 or 8, not the other one. 7 or 8 a.m. Forecast videos. Oh, my son wants to hop on stream real quick. Okay, you want to come say hi to stream? And I stream every day. So subscribe, follow, whatever. You can hop on the Discord. And we'll chat every day and go over the stuff. Okay, say hi, stream.
Hi, stream.
No, you don't have to say hi, stream. Just say hi, stream.
Hey, hi, stream.
No, don't say. Just say. We're ready? Hi, stream.
Hi.
Okay, good job. There we go. All right. Gotta go. You guys are awesome. Mod, you're awesome. See you guys later.